flirt with Miss Jones and that's it, you know, and they're like, that's really it. And they go field training with a rep that does just that and are super successful. And they're like, oh my God, mind blown, you know? So what I'll tell you is there's nothing really that's super mind blowing. It's just all super simple. And I kind of took our office and I stripped everything down and I said, you know, if I just did these, you know, 3 things, you know, what would the office look like if I didn't focus on just making everything super crazy complicated. And I'll kind of explain what this is to here in a second. And I've done about like 70 different versions, you know, of this chart. For me, I'm a numbers person, and what gets me excited is seeing like possibility and what could happen whenever you know, I break things down. So one of the things that I wrote down here in keys for you know, nailing the January program is number 1 is planning, and the second thing, you know, is the execution of it. So there's prep work and there's also taking the actions. There's specific things that I've been doing that make it a lot simpler. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is really just a concept that I was taught a really long time ago, and it's called the integrity gap. Has anybody ever heard of the integrity gap before or no? Mm-hmm. You have? Okay, cool. So basically, this is what the integrity gap is. So everybody has what they're actually doing, which is over here. You have this gap right here in the middle, and then here's what you're capable of. And what happens is that we create this gap, you know, whether it's mentally or like the actions that you're actually taking of what you're actually doing and what you're capable of. And this gap that we can't seem to close for whatever reason and, you know, reach our capacity, it brings a lot of different kind of emotions. Anxiety, whether it's financially, emotionally, you know, just whatever. You know, it also brings a lot of regret. You know, you do a lot of things that you regret doing. And so there's different keys, and this came from like a video from way back when, of things you can ask yourself to pretty much close this gap. And the action steps I'm going to give you, you know, for the January program, I know it sounds pretty heavy, but can help you close that gap where you feel like you're performing more at your capacity. And what I kind of like told myself is, how do I booby trap myself for success? Where even if like I'm in a shitty place and other people are in a shitty place, I know if I can at least get these actions out of myself or these people, like I'm going to booby trap myself for success where I can still achieve my capacity and eliminate all anxiety, stress, regret from what I'm actually doing to what I'm actually capable of. Is everybody with me on that? So there's 3 like questions from mentally, like just things that you can ask yourself. And the first key to close the gap is that you want to ask yourself, and this is before you sit down and plan and actually look at, okay, what am I looking to achieve this, you know, January program and this upcoming, you know, 2017 year, not just over the break, is, you know, how can you make yourself proud is like the first question that you want to ask before. How do I make myself proud? And the reason why I wanted to ask this question before I started planning everything was a lot of the time you go and you sit and you plan, and we're all culprit of this, whether you've been a sales rep, an assistant manager, or a district manager, where you kind of plan your goals based around a number that excites somebody else. For example, last year, it was all about the Rolex, right? It was like, oh, last year for the Rolex. So it was like, if you weren't excited for the Rolex as a manager, you were pretty weird. If you were a CSP and you weren't excited about the Rolex, you were kind of weird. So people started, you know, making plans and making decisions based on a goal that didn't truly make them feel proud of themselves or they were excited about. So, you know, even like Kathy texted me a few weeks ago, like, hey, I really want to hit 1.5. And I really had to sit and think about and wrap my head around, okay, why would I be excited about 1.5? Like, I like, no offense to her, but I kind of told her, like, well, I don't really care about that. You know, I just want to do this because that's what gets me excited. And you need to identify, okay, you know, kind of like, fuck what everybody else says. What am I excited about? What's going to make me happy at the end of the day? The second question to help close that gap and what you're going to plan your schedule around, or your execution, so to speak, which we'll go over here in a second, is what would the best version of you do? Which, you know, is something that Cody pretty much kind of spoke about, but, you know, what would the best version of you do? You know, would the best version of yourself create a plan where you're having all your candidates do the work, or are you digging in there and diving in, you know, with your office and, you know, getting your hands dirty, you know, in there and really working the schedule? Or are you just handing it off to everybody? And then the third thing that'll help you, that they say in the video, is, you know, act as if. And I know these are all concepts that you've heard before, but I really want to encourage you to kind of take it into your own hands and make it your own. And when you say act as if, a lot of people say act as if you're somebody that you'd admire. I don't know if any of you have heard Matthew McConaughey's like acceptance speech where they're like, where he talks to a guy and the guy's like, who's your role model? And he's like, my role model's me 10 years from now. And he's like, okay, well, in 10 years, who's your role model? And he's like, it's me the next 10 years after that. So it's kind of modeling, where your actions are for, who you want to be versus like somebody that's not yourself. So I think that when you go into planning a big year or even a big campaign, it's not just looking at, the small little goals, but it's a little bit of self-discovery and figuring out, what your mission is. I read something from John Maxwell the other day that was like, you can have a mission and you can have goals. The reason why you want to center your life around missions versus goals is goals just get you somewhere and then that's it, right? Like, it's like, how many of you have had like a kid that sells a lot but then quits, right? You're like, I don't understand why they quit. They just made all this money. Well, all they were focused on was that one thing. They got there and then, that was it. But if you have a mission, that's something that you work on, every single day. So the reason why I wanted to talk about that a little bit is that it doesn't matter how much you freaking plan. You can plan your heart out, but if you don't have the mission behind it, the why behind it, it's not going to mean anything at all. And I know we talk about that all the time. You've heard know your why, but it's not just know your goal, but you have to know like why the heck it is, that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. Like for me, I was like last summer, all about the $1 million mission, right? And for me, it was more of a pride thing than it was like, okay, why does this line up with me as like a person? What I want to do in life, does it line up with my financial goals, emotional, physical, whatever goals? So I think you just need to find a little bit of a deeper meaning when it comes to planning. So now just to give you a little bit more content with planning things, now once you like know your mission and stuff, the first thing that I pretty much thought of and kind of ignited me to go on this planning frenzy and execution frenzy really is, if you think about this for a second, everybody that you need to hit your financial goals, your sales goals for next year has already been recruited to Vector. Everybody's already been recruited to Vector. You've already had them in an interview, you had them in training, and maybe you fucked it up and you didn't come back or whatever. But what if you could get them back? What if you could get those people back and then already do what you're planning on doing for all the new people the next summer? What would your organization look like then? So I got really curious and I thought, okay, what's a list of all the people I've truly enjoyed working with? And one thing I found in Cutco, as Kathy mentioned, is I hate working with people that I hate working with. Like if I have people I don't like around me, I don't do anything. I don't like working for them, and I don't even like working for the office. I don't care if I'm making a $0 paycheck. Like it's just not motivating at all. But if I have a ton of people I like around me, I'm excited to be here. Even on the days where I don't want to come in, I'm here, and that's really what kind of like strung me along all summer. Was I had really awesome kids that I really loved, and I didn't care that I had to sit and make 50 million PR calls or whatever because they were around me all the time, and I got to come to the office just to see them. So I said, okay, who have I recruited that I really like? So I made this list of people here, and some of them are current people, some of them are people from even the 2015 summer. And what I did was I went to my Vector Connect and I went to Rep Info, and I sorted it by career sales, and I literally wrote down a list of all the best kids, everyone I really liked, whether they had sold $1,000, some of them even sold $500, to people that have sold $40, $50, $60, $70,000 worth of Cutco. And I identified and I said, imagine if I got all these people back. What would I sell next summer without recruiting anybody? And I wrote down a list and I said, if they didn't sell for CFC and I just did push numbers and it came out to be like 850,000, I was like, shit, if I can like get at least half of these people, that would lock in, let's say on a bad end, like 300 grand worth of sales, if not more. And then I have all my new people that I'm going to recruit, which from new people this past summer, we did like 600. I'm like, holy cow, that could be crazy. And as I wrote this down, I was like, okay, what's the plan to get them back? And I know that Wasim gave some tips, which are really good in terms of like strategy, when to meet with people, like PCs, stuff like that, and when to put their schedule together. And Cody said some stuff too. But the number one thing that I realized when recruiting people back, and these are all the ones I've already recruited if they're highlighted on here, and everybody else I've, kind of planting seeds, having conversations with. So anybody that's yellow is not anybody I reached. These are people that were like, yeah, I'm locked in, for next summer. and we've like put a plan together for sure. But even one of our top guys, number one from this past summer, Matthew Lintner, I thought was like a shoo-in to come in next summer. And he's not. He's like looking for another internship. And one thing that I wrote down, and right now he's more open to like coming back and working for Cutco, but I haven't even sold him on anything. I haven't talked to him about it or anything at all. He's the one that came to me and he's like, hey, I'm going to be working over winter break. Just so you know, he's like, I'm still unsure about summer, but I'm for sure coming back for Thanksgiving. And then I had somebody else come to me randomly about asking me about a resume, and then we started talking about Cutco. Then another one of my guys, John Boss, was like excited to have like his biggest summer ever next summer. He wants to sell like 75 grand or whatever next summer, and he came to me and talked to me about that. And the number one thing that's guided me to do all this is I really took I don't know if you guys have heard the John Maxwell quote that's like, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that, but that's what I, pretty much live everything here in Vector. That's what I do all the time here with our people. And so whenever I talk to them, I never bring up Cutco. That's one mistake that I think a lot of managers make, is that they're constantly trying to recruit them. Don't recruit them. If you truly care about your people and you want what's best for them, when somebody tells you that they're applying for internships and stuff, when Matthew told me that, I wasn't like, why do you want to do that? Cutco's the best job in the world. That's like the natural reaction for any Vector manager. I was like, oh, that's really awesome. Tell me more about that. Like, what are you looking to do? Like, do you need help with your resume? Let me see what connections I have, and, being able to have conversations like that. And we've already had like 3 separate conversations about this quote unquote internship. And then yesterday I was like, hey, just out of curiosity, how's the search coming along? And he's like, oh, it's not going, really well. I'm probably going to search over winter break. He's like, I actually wanted to tell you that I plan on selling over winter break. I want to sell 20 grand, and this is what I want to do. I'm only going to be in town for this amount of time. And I was like, okay, cool, chilling. Same thing with John Boss from this past summer. I went up to Austin, interviewed some people, and I decided to like have lunch with him. And I already knew he was coming back, but as soon as we sat down, he was like, so tell me, what am I going to sell next summer? I'm like, I literally just want to catch up with you and like have lunch. Is that cool? I was like, if we want to talk about Cutco after, that's awesome. But I just like, I love you as a person, and I just want to sit here and chat. And they love that, by the way, because they long to like be your friend and like hang out with you and stuff. But that's how you recruit people back. That's the how-to. Is it's not really to recruit them back to Cutco, but just recruit them back, to your life. Yeah. You don't recruit people to sell knives or recruit people to make money. You recruit people to your mission because they're aligned with what you want to do and do. So eventually, as you keep talking to them, when they bring up Cutco, that's your moment to share, your master plan. So if any of these guys I catch up with and see how they're doing are like, oh, and how's the office? To me, that's the open door for me to be like, oh, well, here's what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, yeah, and if you know anybody that you think would be good for it, and they're like, well, what about me? And I'm like, oh, I guess you can come back too. That's cool. And then you open that conversation that leads to more later on. So I guess with the master plan here is you want to make a list of everybody that you love working with. I guess would be like the step 1. And then make a plan to reach out to them.
What's 50, 75?
I'll explain that in a second. So then make a plan to reach out to them and literally just catch up. Don't make a plan of what you're going to tell them about Cutco. Just make a plan to catch up, have lunch, get a call, or something. And if you don't really have that open door of communication, let's say you messed up with them. Like one of our guys, Chris Martini from over the summer, he was on Alliance and he like went MIA, and I saw him come to the office and like said like a really rude comment to him, and I didn't know his mom tried to commit suicide. And then like I like probably shattered the kid's like heart. I don't know. So I felt really bad about reaching out to him, but I just texted him and I was like, hey, just wanted to send you a text and tell you, thank you so much for everything you did this summer. We sold X amount, whatever. And he responded back like, you have no idea how much this text means to me, or something. And I was like, yeah, let's catch up soon. He's like, yeah, let me know. I'm super busy with school, but I'd love to catch up. And I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. So now I can go and like have lunch with that guy and, rebuild a relationship that really wasn't there. So even if you messed up with some people, it's okay to go back. People mess up and make mistakes, or, there's always second chances. So once you make this list, again, just identify them. And then here's something interesting I did. Did any of you guys actually take time to read Justin Ledford's book?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. About like visualization and all these things. So I kind of took it really crazy. And you don't have to do this, but I did it and it helped a lot. Is I basically typed out conversations that I could have with all these people about Cutco. So each person individually, I think the longest one I did was with Taylor. And I literally just typed out like a movie script. Taylor, hey Mary Lou, how are you? Mary Lou, I'm good. How are you? And like literally just role played for every single person. And I think that's what I've been working on, Kathy, by the way. So all my staff and Kathy think I'm crazy. I've been going to bed like every day, like at 3, and then I get to the office at 8. I did that for like 2 weeks straight because I was just like crazy, like visualizing all these things. So I wrote down conversations I had with them, and then I took it one step further. I said, okay, if things went to shit and I only got these people back, what would their business plans look like? And I made business plans for all of them for the summer. When their school gets back, when their school, if I was able to get them out of finals early, and I put what would they say would go on their business plan? What would I say would go on their business plan? And then you kind of go with more like focus whenever you're actually going to go and talk to these people when you sit down with them, because you kind of know the outcome and you know what challenges you might overcome. Like with John, I remember I wrote down, like, he's going to say, how is he going to sell 75 grand? He only sold 22 grand this summer. And he's the kind of guy that's more for it. So I was like, he'll probably tell me something like, I mean, if you show me how it gets done, I'll do it. But, like, I don't know that I'll have time or whatever. And so I just made a plan specifically for him. And when we sat down, I showed him. He's like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, I could definitely do that. I'm like, yeah, so if you just do this is going to happen. I don't know if he's going to sell 75 grand or not, but, it's just the whole idea of picturing it before it happens, and then you take you put more energy, towards that. So I sat down, I made business plans for everybody. Then I thought about, what would each person actually do, next summer here in the office. So you'll see different things. Some say 50, 75, 100. I'll tell you what that is. RM, AM, selling assistant, whatever. I even wrote down possible scenarios of like things that'll happen to them over the summer. I'm like, yeah, this person's going to try and quit on me in May. This one's going to try and quit here. I don't know. I was just crazy. I just did all this like over the course of 2 weeks. Then, so what 50, 75, 100 is, this is probably the premier thing that's been helping me recruit everybody back. It's something I'm calling the sales internship with people. So what exactly the sales internship is you're just going to sell shit ton of Cutco and make a lot of money, but they're going to be able to put it on their resume. We all have a lot of kids that were good, that weren't interested in management, weren't interested in selling a lot of Cutco, and you're kind of like Scott Hurwitz is one of those. He's like one of our sharpest kids, but he didn't want to do management, but he also didn't want to be managed either as a rep. He was just like, let me do my own thing, and I'm going to sell a lot of Cutco. And he did. He sold 14 grand and then sold 25 grand for the summer. And literally nothing can excite this guy. Nothing at all. I'm not just like, no money, no. Experience, no. I have no idea why he was working with Cutco. And then I talked to him about the sales internship, and I'm calling it the 50, 75, 100 Club. So it's a $60 registration fee, and what the $60 is going to is I'm paying Randy to basically coach these people, like life and Cutco wise. And my thought process with this was if I could have my my actual top 20% pay to be top 20% managed, and then I can manage another top 20%, which are all my new people, then I'm going to technically have like a top 40% that produces a lot, and then I have all the other people that just do whatever always, and then I don't have to put energy towards the people that I've already put energy to. I could pay somebody to do that, but I don't pay them. It's just like free for me. I don't know. I just thought it was a win-win. So basically what their commitment is 6 weeks. So 6 weeks if they're part of the 50 club. It's 8 weeks if they're part of the 75 club, and then 10 weeks or more if they're part of the 100 club. So the whole idea behind it is a momentum week, a push, a momentum week, a push is what they're really committed to. And I started talking to Matthew kind of about it. I'm like, you can still do your internship, but you can do this one too. You only need 6 weeks. I was like, last summer you only worked 5 weeks and you sold 42 grand. You can work 6 weeks this year and, sell 50 grand or so and be a part of the 50, grand club. And part of it too is, where's your mindset about that is, do you think that can actually happen for them? There's some people I've identified on here that are on my current team that haven't even surpassed 10,000 in sales, but this summer will probably go out and do really big things just because I believe it, and I tell them that I believe in them and that they can do it. And what I found is, again, simplicity. As long as you make a simple plan for it to happen, like, there's no way it can't happen. Like when you go and you teach somebody campus, you don't go and teach them all these crazy things to do. You're like, this is a script, read it, you do it, and boom, you get results. Everyone's like, how'd you get so many clipboards this semester? I literally texted them while I was in Brazil, and I said, here's a script, read this to as many people as you possibly can. They texted me, we have 100 names. I'm like, that's awesome, so you just keep it simple, and then they do it. So so yeah, that's pretty much what the 50-7500 Club is. It's a sales internship, and I made like a document and stuff that I can send out with like learning outcomes. And I told them all you're required to do is you need to be here for those 6 weeks, which are when I get the push dates, I'll give it to them. So I give them push dates, momentum week, and then you have a bi-weekly meeting with each other, and they have an accountability partner, and that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna identify their accountability partners pre-summer, and they'll talk all spring. So pretty much.
And we can have a more detailed for the veterans with this. I didn't we're gonna get as much into this, but there's a lot of.
So
huh?
They asked.
Yeah, so. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in terms of setting up your sales years. Like my office didn't accidentally ship 1.5 consistently year after year. Like there's planning and strategy to it. And for us, it's like, how do we pop? And she's been doing an effing hell of a job. How do we pop to 2 mil next year? It took us a while in Miami to get to 2 mil. How do we pop? And so getting this together, then putting our plan together to do $1 million plus in new business for the summer, around also a solid spring, which January program is so important. It's like, how do we do another 150, 200 and new in the spring? How do we do that in the fall? And then how do we put together $1 million in FSM business without really having the years of layers, but like, all right, how do we really, and she's done a hell of a job of just being an enticing internship, just doing things, just being creative to say, okay, how do we do this sooner? Because there's the natural progression, and then this obviously is a very intentional, like, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna create this new thing that doesn't exist that excites people. Just like, by the way, I don't know whoever called it internship first, but I know that I didn't get that from anyone. That was me. Someone else could have done it too. But I started calling ourselves our entrepreneurship internship and everything. Why? Because in 2007, I was losing some of the best freaking recruits the next summer to go work somewhere else because they wanted an internship. I was like, are you effing kidding me? We have the best internship in the damn world. You get to learn how to run your own damn business. And so I changed verbiage on things years ago and how things were promoted because I didn't want to lose those kids, So it's just kind of like adapting and saying, like, because we have a hell of a fucking program. We have so many incredible things that our people can learn. And just, are we keeping the best kids around? Are the best kids maximizing their income? Where are these kids going to earn 50 grand for the summer while they're still in college? Where are they going to do that? In your office, in his office someday, another office, like people can do that here. That's not normal. That's not accessible to kids in college to earn that much income during the summertime. So anyway, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to go into the recruiting stuff now too. Yeah. So just to finish on like the sales stuff, because I think that there was just so much business left on the table with people that you could have had in your business, and some people are like, oh well, you lost whatever, but I'm like, no, I like genuinely like that person, even if they weren't in Cutco, I'd want them in my life, but I mean, I'm gonna get them to Cutco eventually. So I just kind of tailored what all my kids need, and I just created something. And even as I have like one-on-one conversations with people, if there's somebody I know can make a big impact, I'll just make something up on the spot just to have them around. Like Esther was a receptionist this past summer, and I was like, you can be my administrative intern, and then she came and called PRs, but she was just a good Houston Christian kid I wanted sitting in the front of my office greeting people, and she didn't get the best numbers, but I promise you, like, her sharpness definitely helped attract good people to stick around in my office, so you just create things as it comes up. But a lot of this was just a lot of visualization, and the reason why I think it's important for new DMs too is, you can start thinking about how many kids you can have in these like different categories of your office, even if you don't have them yet. So you in your mind, as you're recruiting people, you may not even think about it, but like subconsciously your mind's going to connect the dots and say like, okay, this person is going to do this, and you'll just start taking actions to eventually create this if you have like a clear vision about it. So anyway, you can just kind of tailor things to what you want. And in terms of the actual recruiting and like gaining recruits for your office and like starting from zero and going 100 miles an hour, especially over the January program, is a lot of people, want to get these recruits in right away so they can get their PRs. You're not going to get that with every single person, and you have to know that. Like last winter, we didn't have, like, the way that we got those kids in wasn't because of people I had gotten PRs from over the summer. It was from work that we did that fall that really created the spring that then created the summer. I mean, if you look at my team last summer, none of those kids lined up with the kids we had this summer. I mean, look at the freaking wall. It's like half ghetto, super, not awesome. Some of them are still people from Miami.
Yeah,
I
it's like
didn't
most
have.
of them, all the good-looking ones are Miami.
Yeah, it was like half of them are from
Rolly and
Miami.
Daniel.
And then we had like maybe a couple from like 2015 that were solid to put up there, but like none of them have any connection to the PRs we had this summer. So you have to find your way in somehow. Everybody's territory is different, so I can't really tell you how to get into your school. For us, I think it was like a combination of Facebook with campus. And if you guys don't know this, over winter break, the community colleges, they have a mini-mester over winter break for people that come home from school that some of our sharpest kids go to. Scott was telling me that he was considering doing the winter mini-mester and that he might be here all winter, going to HCC or Lone Star. Just for those 2 or 3 weeks of school, they'll like take a class. And your sharpest kids are not going to class over winter and summer. I mean, your lowest kids aren't going to class over these periods, but your sharpest kids are because they want to get ahead. So, I'd still make a plan to go on campus over winter break. For us, we're definitely going to go a lot on our old PRs. But as you guys get kids on your team, always ask them like, hey, who do you know that's like the top of the class or whatever. I remember I got like a super sharp private school kid I got this one kid from the summer who came from one of our public schools, and I asked him like, who do you know that's like super sharp, like doesn't need money at all, but could benefit from this, and gave me this one girl, Kayla Martinez, who went to Katy High School. She's one of our I guess sharper public schools, whatever, and she gave me a list of people, and I got my sharpest recruit of the fall from there, Grant Jackman, who like freaking PR'd our whole entire team that whole entire fall and spring too. So you kind of just have to get creative and figure out, what's your in. Maybe it's going to the school, setting up high school tables already, or like I said, maybe it's going back and bribing somebody. That's what we did. I mean, that's what we do always. When everything else fails, we just bribe someone. Find your sharpest kid and tell them, what do you want? Peyton Jones, this kid I just recruited, like probably the sharpest kid, him and his friend, I recruited all fall. When I did the PR talk with him on Saturday, I sat him down and I said, hey, as you can see, our team is not awesome. I want 25 more people like you. What do you want? What's going to make you, like, what do you need? Do you need a flight somewhere? Do you need a concert ticket? Do you need money? Do you need more Cutco? What do you need in order for you to give me everybody on your cell phone? And he was like, that's what I told him. And he's like, I literally just need a ticket to New York to go see to go with my girlfriend and her family for Christmas. I was like, cool. How much is that? He's like, I don't know. It's going to be like $300-400. I was like, give me everybody in your phone. And we'll make a plan to make this happen. I was like, for every kid that launches, that sells $1,000, you're gonna get $50. He gave me a list of people, and then I told him, identify everybody that's non-local. And this is kind of like the bread and butter of like setting up the winter program. And I said, write down everybody that doesn't live in Houston right now. I want you to put an NL next to them. And he went and he got the list and he put NL next to all those people. So I knew who the non-locals were. Then after that, we set up three-way texting with all the non-locals, because the locals, those are easy. Like I don't need to, three-way text with them. Like I'll get those guys in. Like it's not that hard. But the non-locals, I said three-way text with them. I want to meet with them now. And I've already signed about 10 people for winter program. And I'm training one right now that's in Austin that's going to sell right now, but he'll come back for winter program. So our big dance already has 10 people set, training that Kathy's running, which is going to be freaking badass. And then I got another girl from John Austin, one of our assistant managers, who's coming to train 2 weeks from now, only to work over the winter break because she's going to be studying abroad half the semester. But I told her she can win a scholarship if she helped me recruit some people. And if she sold over winter break, and she gave me like a list of 35 extra names that I wouldn't have had from before. So you just want to target the locals now. That's probably what's going to help us, build a big 2017. And also you have to realize too that, you might sacrifice a little bit of CPO right now in order to get your 2017 moving. And what I mean by that is I'm obviously spending less time on my current team in order to invest time into these things that are going to create more CPO for myself later on. Sometimes managers focus so much on like
the fall and the spring campaign. And I know, like, I understand CJ's whole, like, philosophy about calling it campaign 3 and going just as hard or whatever, but I personally don't agree with that. You know, everybody's a little bit different. I like the fact that I get to bust my ass for 4 months and then kind of, you know, be in the off season for 8 months. But if you're really going to run it like a sports team and you think about it as a coach, what do they do in the off season? They're recruiting and they're training those people. So what do we do in the off season as managers? Your job is to recruit people and to train them. And also, if you don't have the recruits that you want on your team, you go and you schmooze the hell out of every possible recruit that you can. So that's why I'm willing to take time and go for 2 days to Austin or make plans. Taylor told me, she's like, Mary Lou, there's kids over here at Ole Miss that really want to work for Cutco. And I was like, I will literally buy a flight there and I will be there for 4 days to recruit them. Even if they're from Mississippi, like I will tell them that they can earn a sales internship in my office this summer, and I will get them to fly here and sell for me for 6 weeks just for pushes, fly home to Mississippi, and like that's it. And we've already started talking about it. She's getting a list together for me of like 20 to 30 people that I can freaking fly over there literally just to recruit. And these are kids that I maybe I only get one, maybe I only get two, but these are going to be some sharp kids that can sell like 40, 50 grand. And I don't care if they live in another part of the freaking country. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to recruit their ass. Like, just because somebody has a football team in Texas doesn't mean they're not going to fly to Florida to get that sharp recruit. They're going to go over there, take them to dinner. They're going to, I don't know, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it, but it's like, are you willing to go the extra mile for it? And maybe some of you aren't. You're not in that place where you feel like you can or will or should, but I'll tell you, you're going to see some crazy things happen in West Houston because I'm willing to do some crazy things right now. And I'm traveling a lot, you know, over the fall and over the spring too, but when I am here, I'm working. And I'll kind of wrap up, you know, with this. We always tell, at least for me in training, I always tell my representatives that part of being a West Houston Warrior is your work ethic and working hard. And I don't care if you work 1 day or if you work 20 days, you know, this month. But whatever one day it is, you want to make sure that you're working hard on that day. And as a manager, I doubt everybody in this room is working 7 days a week, 24/7. But if you identify, if I did these things this week and I didn't work at all, the rest of the time, like, work hard at those things. Like for me every week, I'm not getting up super early. I only got up early by choice because I was in a freaking like visualization mindset mode, whatever. But I don't get up early. I don't stay here late. I don't do a million PCs a week. I don't do a lot of steroids a week. And maybe I'm a bad manager for saying that or not doing that. But I focus on the things that are exciting, that I know are gonna drive the business forward and help me keep my long-term vision. You know, we always say dangle a carrot in front of them, but how many of you are dangling a carrot, you know, in front of yourself to continue working? At least for me, it's not exciting to celebrate the small wins anymore. I don't like that. I don't like saying, oh, I only set 5 PRs today. Oh, I got a 40% show or 50% show to my interview this week. That's like stuff you tell your candidate to get excited. You know, for me, I'm like, I fucking recruited an army of people this summer that look like a fucking country club, that give me many more country clubs to come and do better things than I ever could, you know, when I was here, you know, in West Houston. And that's kind of like my mission. You know, so remember I said, know your goal and know your mission. My mission is like recruit people that do better things than me when I'm done and gone from Cutco. Like, I'm not here anymore. I leave Kathy with people that it's just a system. She doesn't have to be here. Or maybe I'm still here and I'm just making money off it. That'd be kind of cool. But, you know, just like build shit so I don't really have to even worry about it later on. So if you're an older manager, go re-recruit some people, go find your open door and call old PRs and have like the can't stop, won't stop mentality. It's just time for people to stop being a little bitch, you know? Like, I know it's like my catchphrase, don't be a bitch, but for real, like, I don't care if your PRs are 2 years old. I'm going to call every fucking PR in my office. I don't care if the campus doesn't let you on. I'm going to go clipboard there. I don't give a shit. You know, you just got to force your way into whatever the heck you want. So I guess my whole point of that last part is just not to make any excuses, because my old manager used to tell me that excuses are the nails that built the house of failure. So if your house is failing right now, you're just making too many damn excuses and you just got to go do something. Recruit some bitches.
Cool. Thank you.
That's my 2017 plan.
All right, you're off. Thank you. So from that, I'm sure there's different things you guys from there. One of the things that I want to make sure everyone really gets, like, One, there's strategy, all right? And so it's important that you have strategy. There's a plan. There's actually reach outs happening now, not just expecting it to come together. So planning ahead is super important that that's going on. And I wanted her to show that because, like, obviously she's put a lot of time into that. It doesn't have to be that extensive. But are you doing something to list your people, know who you have, who are you targeting? If you're starting from absolute scratch, we talked about this. I sent an email out a month and a half ago after calls with some of you guys. That's how we've started in every territory. That's how we started when we moved here. And then, as she mentioned at the end, going above the extra mile to do whatever it takes. I drove to Galveston to run interviews. I drove there to run advanced training. I drove there to run training. I went to Galveston like 5 different trips in a 2-week period to get our summer going last year, to just get something up on the boards. And I was like, I've got to find something. I can't sit here and wait for summer to come. I've got to get some sales going. So just having that, like, hey, I'll do whatever it takes mentality to get stuff done. Will you go talk to people at the pool halls? Will you go out to the movie theaters? Will you go talk to people face to face? Wherever it is. That was me in Sarasota. It was like, I will do whatever it takes to get 3 people in front of me. Because if I get those 3 people in front of me, I'm going to get their PRs, and then boom, I'm going to build it off of that. That's what I need. I need those people to build off of. So, don't be old names, old whatever. Like, absolutely. I hear people, managers all the time, oh, but these names are old. It's like, okay, so, like, call them. Like, if they weren't spoken to, like, call them and just say, hey, I know you were recommended a while ago, or you had applied, like, a couple years ago. I'm not sure you're still looking for work if you don't know who is, but we were looking for some extra hands, and we saw your application. And that's it. What's the worst they say? Oh, no? All right, have a great day. If you don't even know who it is, let them know, blank website, and that's that. So anyway, I want to pass. So couple veterans, I'd love any feedback, recruiting, any things right now, because in terms of building a big army for the junior program, obviously PRs, you guys have the documents for that, old names, but any other things that have helped you guys through the years, go for it.
Surveys. Right now, like, that's the best way to get it. I had 2 kids in my last training class. They did about $3,500, both from surveys on campus.
Ready with the survey?
So if you don't have the good people that you want right now in your office, you can literally. I know Bobby's been going up to people on campus and interviewing them right there on the spot. Hey, you look good, Jordan. Let's go sit down and let me talk to you about our opportunity. And he's been doing that, and I haven't been that aggressive, but I'm gonna start being aggressive like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I make little, tiny little surveys like this. We get out 100 of them, go back to the office, and
You had no idea what they were talking about. Like, yeah, look at your application. I was like, what?
Yeah, she's not applied for like a year.
Nice.
Oh, I was just gonna say something that I did yesterday. They go, oh wow, I have these areas I need to work on. Is I looked at the interview, training, PCs, PDI, YARs, and I basically wrote down everything that I knew and every question I asked or knew to ask regarding each one of those things and how I did them. And once I looked at that list of things that I already knew, I was like, oh wow, okay, there's a lot of stuff in here that I can add. I don't necessarily know or I'm not necessarily putting into the system. So I don't know. I know that might help some of y'all that are just kind of like, hey, I know what to do, implement it or applying it. Because once I sat down, I looked at that, I was like, okay, now I know this is what I need to say. This is how I need to structure to get that community.
MBR, I'd love for you to send me the survey. Other things with creating a great training class.
So when I call them, hey, do you remember filling that survey? You got free pencil with it. And they're like, oh yeah. And even if they said no, they're not looking for work, but they're because I have 2 questions on there. On the end of it is, are you looking for scholarship opportunities or work? And are you currently working? So if they say no, they're not currently working, and no, they're not looking for scholarship opportunities, I still go ahead and call them anyways. And I say, hey, you said you were looking for work, and you were open to scholarship opportunities, and they're like, oh yeah. And then I give a short business a description, and I was able to set a few people that way.
Training no-shows from the summer that were sharp. I rescheduled 2 from last year.
That's a great one. Any other things to just build in classes now because we want to build?
Yeah, go through your virtual library. I'm about to build something called every single name that we have. I'm another person. And so we did it. So in the summer, because we were really behind, I spent 2 days calling every single name and number in the system. That usually I've done that in the class usually works. I got a 16% training class for that.
Nice. Any other things on recruiting or like out of the ordinary things or reminders of things for?
I've talked about today, but we'll do old school campus stuff because it works for us, and I think it probably works everywhere in my opinion too. But just putting together our blitz days and when that's going to be, and I personally want one big training class before they leave, and then they leave. But so what does that week look like for you, and what is your plan of attack, and who do you have? And if you don't have enough people to do it, can you talk with the other managers in this room, or can you find other people you can hire to do it with you? Because a little bit of active, it goes a long way. It just does. So I don't know. Clear goals on how many flyers you're getting out and break it down into schedules, but I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, no,
it works. Like it still works.
Does. It does. Anybody else? Cool. I'm gonna hand over. By the way, if we're gonna go through cycles, I want you guys all to know new DMs. Put this in your
shit.
schedule. Go.
Shit. Winter break
Don't
work.
shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Winter break work. Just whiteboards. Your whiteboarding, that's gonna get you so many. Like we're gonna do a round of winter break work, holiday help work, and it's gonna bring me like 300 touches the week I do it. So.
Cool. All right. So reminders here. We've got November staffer, November 15th. All right. And that will be from 11 to 2. That'll be virtual. Anyone who wants to come live, please do. You can come to my house. It will be in my house. Actually, I might be at the office. I'm lying because Mary Lou's out of town. So I'll be here. Then we have on November 19th. All right. We have prep, but I'd like as many of you guys for the dinner after, so 11 to 4, and I still need to confirm with Ashley White's parents if we can do the prep at her house. So location is to be, I don't know, determined, and then 5 to 8 p.m. potluck. This is the Thanksgiving, and that's that Saturday.
That's the 17th, right?
Yes, that's the 19th. So this is all November 19th. All right. It's prep followed by potluck Thanksgiving at the White residence up in the Woodlands. All right. So I'd really like as many of you guys there and as many of your parents to be there for the potluck. All right. I know some people are traveling. I get that. But anyone who's in town, it'd be awesome to have you guys there. The Whites are willing to host it. And again, I'm going to see if we can even just do the prep there too.
It's at the White House.
It's at the White House. Yes. Then I have here for all of you guys, anyone's invited, new DMs, this is part of your training. So please put it in your schedule. If you have any issues, we'll talk one-on-one to make sure you're good. Actually, we had next year's planning retreat, which right now we're working on. Trent Booth is trying to figure stuff out, see if he can come down. And I'm trying to get some guest speakers to help us plan for 2017. But we have our retreat. You guys have this in your calendar. That's November. It was like, this is the dates we're looking at, November 29th to 30th, which is a Tuesday and Wednesday. And that is 2017 planning. We're trying to get a leadership day out of it. So right now, Trent's trying to get approval to come down here and be with us for that at my house. If not, he'll be Skyping in for some different talks. But this is going to be a mix of some strategic things in the business from Dan Cassetta and Trent, as well as like some personal development as leaders as we go into the new year. I know that our team can take down Silver Cup next year. I know that without a shadow of a doubt, but I know that we're missing strategy. I know that we're missing some disciplines, that we really need to identify and really plug some holes so that we can go out there and take it down. I know we have unbelievably talented people, and I'm super excited for this. So this right here, I have this plan. It'll start a little bit later on Tuesday because I think my flight arrives on Tuesday morning from Thanksgiving. I think I get back my flight arrives at 12:30. So this is something that would start later in the day, like a 4 p.m. type start time is what we're looking at, and then would go all day Wednesday. So I'd want to plan ahead because instead of us all flying to Philly, I'm just getting him, trying to get him, we can't afford that. They can't, National can't afford that, and they'd only let us bring 5 people, not the whole team. So we're trying to do it backwards during that time. So this will be, we'll say 3 p.m. actually, I lied. I'll just come back ready to roll. So I'll get all my planning done in Virginia with the fam. So right after Thanksgiving, Tuesday, 3 p.m. start time. We'll go through all day Wednesday because I don't have the speakers finalized yet. And then in December, everybody and our Thanksgiving party and everything will be, or I mean our Christmas holiday party. Same thing, this is December 17th, which is on Saturday from 11 to 4. We have prep, followed by holiday party, which I want to see whose house we do that one at. I like doing them at the guys' houses. We could be back at the White House. We could be somewhere else. But I like doing them at someone's home. I like the feel of it, you know, as long as they're excited about having it at their home. So I know that the Whites are really excited to have us over there. So 11 to 4, holiday party will happen afterwards. It'll be kind of the same drill, like a 5 to 8 dinner. We're inviting all the parents, all the families. I like doing family stuff together. It's my style. Get used to it. And I just think it's really good for the parents to be able to like interact and connect with you guys, with the other people their kids are with. And I'm telling you guys, long term, that builds an unbelievable bond and support. And even when things are bad, you're able to have like open communication with the parents. It's a really positive thing. Then what I wanted new DMs to put into your schedule, that I have added this to my schedule. I am going to be running training December 19th and 20th. This is a Monday and Tuesday. This is strategic for all of our candidates. All right, and it was strategic for our new DMs, you guys, for the new DM team and the new DMs we're going to be going out. So this is a new DM. I'm running this, so I'm actually running a full seminar that Kathy's running. All are invited. This shouldn't interfere with many of your schedules. Again, it's on a Monday and Tuesday. I'm just running it there so I can get a full seminar and it doesn't interfere with people's Jan program. You know, you can get interviews done starting Wednesday and keep building towards the after Christmas seminar. So we'll go through dates. At this staffer, we'll also be finalizing like all the dates for Jan program. Anything for you guys, like what you should be focused on. He's going to go through cycles and stuff right now. But anyway, the stuff that we're missing, we'll finish up here. But I want to make sure we're starting to plan ahead, so we're not too late. So December 19th, 20th, I'm going to be running a full seminar here at the Pilot, and new DMs. I want you guys here. It's going to be kind of like a 10 to 6, 10 to 6. What are the times? I gave them to you. Do you have the times for the seminar? Oh, hold on. Yeah, 11 to 7, 10 to 6. 11 to 7, 10 to 6.
Why are you doing it then? Monday and Tuesday, why not like the week like that?
Because it doesn't interfere. Kids come home the weekend prior. Most kids, I can train them here. They have the whole week to sell before Christmas. They can sell after Christmas into New Year's. So they have the week. They're not doing anything. They get home the weekend prior. So I'm not going to launch them right into Christmas. I'm going to give them at least 4 or 5 days to do demos before they leave town or do whatever. Like if people are traveling, Christmas is on Sunday. Saturday is Christmas Eve, the 24th. So train Monday, Tuesday, give them some days to sell.
Okay.
So this is, yeah, that's what I decided I'm going to be running. So just so you guys know, that's going down. So you guys can put that into your schedule. So that's from now to the end of the year. And then obviously in January again, we have that division meeting, which you guys, is going to be on Wednesday the 11th. And that'll be by the DM team. You guys will be running that. We'll have an agenda for that. I will be in Haiti for the grand opening of the hospital. That's happening that day. And then I'll fly straight to your banquet. Now, oh wait, well here's a change that I wanted to ask you guys about is we thought your banquet was later, right? It's normally like the weekend after P banquet. I have to change it in here. Year banquet is the earliest it's ever been. It's on Saturday the 14th. It's while our kids are still home, like before classes start. Most people start classes after Martin Luther King Day. So actual year in banquet is Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th, Sunday the 15th. And then those of us going to Vegas, we're going to fly straight from Austin to Vegas. So originally we had a division meeting on Wednesday the 11th. I don't know that we need that there now. If Year in Banquet's that weekend, we want them selling for the Year in Banquet push, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll just get time with them. So get your people to Year in Banquet in Austin because it's going to be awesome. And they're all still home, most of them, for the break. Most of them would leave that Sunday. Yeah, now that since it got pushed up, it doesn't make sense. I mean, we could do one if you guys want to run one on like the 4th or 5th, like in the middle. Okay.
Yeah. I would say I don't know the calendar. But
I don't think that we need it. I think we need to be driving our fast starters and get as many to Year in Banquet. Since we're close and it's driving distance, it'll be really good to have a lot of our people over there. So something that you might have not done before that would be really important this year is get everyone there. Every new rep, everyone. And that's a huge pop to the start of the year. There's so much, obviously they're gonna be tight at such a higher level when they're exposed to the entire region and what's possible and they see the sales numbers, it's gonna get them all thinking so much bigger about the year. So I'd say just get everybody there. So any questions with that calendar there?
Yeah, don't they do Night of Excellence on Sunday? So I guess Monday.
So yeah, and we're gonna stay an extra day.
Oh, geez.
So those who want, yeah, so we're gonna be at Standard of Excellence on Sunday night, and then we will fly out Monday morning, and we'll get there right for like everybody, like the day of. So we'll be there, and then Wednesday though, we'll stay Wednesday night. Like whoever wants to, we'll stay an extra day, and I'm setting a contest for whoever in Vegas. But I'm staying an extra
Should I
day.
have some type of new rep subsidy? Sort of bringing them all to year in banquet?
I'm sure they'll have something, so we'll check. Huh?
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be $250 for a new rep that just made $250.
Yeah, but they always have that thing. It's up here.
Yeah.
Oh, I just have them sell it their first weekend. Like I have them sell the products to their parents. But
I did
I'll
last
ask. I'll ask.
So I was like bought a room and stuff for them before, but then they get picky about like dinners and stuff. So like,
Miami, we used to take people to your banquet all the time. That just started, and we would drive really far. We drove to
12
Atlanta
hours.
from Miami, which is 8
Right.
hours. Pay like $300. It was my first conference ever.
Okay, I want to go through this. Is the last thing with setup that's super important. I think everybody but two of you, it's directly, you all have somebody that needs to make sure they set up. And I asked Jordan if he could share, I put this up to record from, I know last year he had shared, but just to talk about setting up the cycles and expectations with the reps now to make sure we're set up for a big program. This is really essential to their training and getting ready. Do you want the board?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are a wrap-up speaker, so you're going to wrap us up with that, and then we are finito. But I wanted to walk through that. So this is huge. I need my notebook to take notes too.
You're running it different though than how I would run it.
No, everyone's running different little cycles, so I'm just saying how you set
Yeah.
up the cycles. What is a cycle? What do they do? Everything's the same. I have my date for my cycle. That's my cycle.
Okay. So, in Olean with your candidates, myself and Kathy and whoever else will have conversations with them about them running a cycle. Ideally, unless you tell me not to have that conversation, I won't have that conversation with them, right? So I just need to know ahead of time. But that will help prep it. You want to mention that too, that everyone runs their own cycle. The idea is for them to figure out what they don't know, right? Because right now they don't know what they don't know. And then when they run a cycle, they'll realize what they don't know, so then they can implement it in the spring. And it's as simple as that, right? And they run the whole cycle. So what goes into running a successful training seminar?
Yards.
Okay.
are you asking like recruits? Like,
I don't know what you're saying. Like how many you want to launch and working backwards to the call.
Yeah. All right. So knowing the numbers that way. Tough crowd. Cool. I'll just talk and then you guys figure it out. So if I'm going to work with someone for a cycle, I'll run the first 2 training seminars. I kind of feel like I'm speaking to a wall, but I'll just look
But
here.
by the way, we're all listening.
There's no interaction.
I
So it
know,
doesn't
but
matter.
by the way-
It's okay.
Jordan, I don't even know a lot of this stuff. And I know it's you've done it for so long, but you can't assume anybody else knows what's like. I don't know. I didn't even know what to answer when you asked the question. I'm like, I don't know. What do we need for the cycle?
What goes?
I don't know where we're going.
Think about as a manager, right?
I'm just
I'll
saying,
talk-
don't
here we
get
go.
frustrating. Like I want to learn. And
I
I'm
know.
taking
I
notes
got to
too.
remember, what Carl Gedger said. Everything that I share, 10% will actually utilize it.
Well,
So-
you know what? Doesn't matter. You teach that it's full, and those
Yeah,
who want
yeah.
to go back and listen over and over, they can. So
I just
Alright.
don't understand your question. That's fine.
So you think about it like, what do you need to teach someone to run a very successful training seminar, right? So if you wanted to have a great training seminar and really set them up to build their confidence, what do they really need?
Okay. Relationship.
Right, relationship building, right? And it goes, well, they need PR names, right? They need to have a schedule. So it actually, even though it's a week, it's not an actual week. It's actually a week and a half of training.
10 days.
So it's 10 days, and it starts whenever the cycle is. So I'll run I'll run the first 2 training seminars, right? So I'll run, if I was to look this year, right? I was typically do it the day after. See how quick I can make this. The 26th and 27th. So I'll run that cycle. The idea is for them to watch me do that. That's really challenging to do, by the way, just to get them to watch you. However, that will be really beneficial. The 26th, 27th. So if I'm running the 26th and 27th in a normal vector cycle, right? If we were to do a regular week, it would go that Sunday, PRs happen, right? Yes? So PRs happen Sunday, and Monday typically PRs, right? To set up the training, yes?
Yes.
So then you run training, or you run interviews, 2 interviews on Monday, Tuesday, 2 interviews, Wednesday, 2 interviews, and if you want to run a Thursday, Friday, then you'd have training Thursday and Friday, right? And then since we run 2-day training, you could run the PR Blitz, then you would have another PR Blitz, right? PR Blitz that Saturday, right? Traditionally, the Wednesday through Friday training, or not Wednesday through, but 3-day training. So you have training here and here. So you have 3 candidates. 1, Michelle, 1, 2, Eric, none right now. You have like a bunch, several,
I don't know, like 6 or 7.
6, right?
6, 5.
So when it gets over to 3 or 5, right, it gets a little complicated. But if you have like 1 or 2, it's really easy to run. So you run this type, but it's on the 26th. So the Monday through here, it doesn't really matter the days. It
Day
just
one
matters
training, day
what's
one.
happening through there, right? So you run training
Jacob has 2.
26th, 27th. So when would your PR Blitz be technically?
27.
It'd be 27th, either that day or the day after, right? So you need to set up everyone to have a big fucking A. I'm putting it right. So yeah, yes. All right. You'd have your PR Blitz that day.
So can we put like day by day, put day one training, day 2 training, so we
Yeah,
can,
there.
alright,
Day 1,
day 1, day 2.
day 2, and then you have your PR
So PR Blitz
Blitz.
is happening day 2.
Right? So if I was to run it, then the 28th, 29th, 30th, there's a 31st right here.
Now for the guys who are,
31st, and
okay,
1st.
this is you transitioning. I'm just trying to think if someone's running their cycle.
I'm going
they're
to go
start-
through that.
okay.
So the reason why this is so important, they're here for this Blitz Day, because the success of the 26th and 27th and the PRs that you get, the big issue with my training class, or my training class that went out, so not this training class, but the branches, none of them actually watched me do the PR talk. So none of them really knew how to execute in PRs, and they all fucked around, right? And literally it just showed from all the results across the board that it was very challenging. You know, every single one of them, everyone. Philippe, right? It was massively hard, right? People said they were gonna run their cycle, and then I'm massively a merchant. So they said they weren't gonna run their cycle. I'm gonna sell, and then I'm like, do what you got to do, and none of that really happened, right? The cool thing is we still did $123,000 in business, and $2K here and there really adds up in FSM business, right? Justin only did 20 of it, by the way. So a lot of it was from candidate sales. Actually, no, Justin did 40, sorry. But that's still 80, right? It's $80,000 minus Justin, right? That's still a solid January. Thanks, Justin. Actually, 83 if you count. But so you'd have your Blitz Day here, right? So then you run 2 interviews, right? 2 interviews. But how many days after their first initial day of selling would you run your advanced training? 2 to 3, right? So if it's Saturday, it normally is you launch on Saturday, right? Sunday, Monday. So 2 days. So you would run AT 1 here, right?
Do you do it in the morning or in the afternoon?
Oh, it's on the break. What do you think's best for the time?
In the morning.
I would do it in the morning, right?
Like summer, like the schedules look very summer. So.
Just like summer. So then when do you run PCs? Yeah, 30th and 31st, right? So you run 30th and 31st. You're like, well, that's New Year's Eve, so you run them early in the day, right? Everything's early on the 31st. What's up, KP? The first, right? You promote that. People do demos later. Cool? So I actually would run at least 2 interviews on the 31st and 1 interview on the 1st, right? So when does training start?
On the second?
Yep. So 2nd and 3rd. So day 1 and day 2. This training class.
What do you want to do AT2 to get your first group back in? Re-engage.
So you could run. That's always a tough one. So
Holiday.
typically I'll do it on like an early team meeting on the 30th. I forget. I have to look at my calendar, but I would do it like the 31st or 30th.
It's like a
like
morning
that.
team meeting.
It's a morning team meeting, just because of that. So I'll get everyone together that day.
I'm trying to remember. We did something after the holiday to get them re-engaged. What
It was
It was
talent time. If you got the talent, we got the time, right? So if you got talent, we got the time, and then we'd run that in the morning. And we actually would still even have a morning meeting too, like a team meeting
Choose how many interviews are happening per day.
or more, right? Depending on staffing, right? But this way you can meet with your team, still do everything you need to, still set up your vibe, and still you run the interviews ideally, or you and right-hand person. So you have day 1, day 2, right? So all of this is massively important that this happens. And on the 28th, the PR Blitz 2, because you only have these interviews and 1 here before you have your next training class. And this training class is the one that really develops the whole January program. Like that's everything. It's not everything for your office, but it's everything for your candidates too. Because if this isn't great, then they don't have PR names to execute, because when do they run their PR Blitz day? The 3rd or 4th, right? So that would be their Blitz. Now, if I had more candidates, right? We had like 7. So I try to run 7 cycles, right? So if I was running 7 cycles, I would move, their Blitz day would technically be the 31st. Right? Because there's 7 of them, right? So that means there's 2 trainings happening. No, there's like 5 trainings happening in 1
They're
week,
like
essentially, because
rotating.
they're like back to
So I
back.
think what's good is like
I'm gonna just go off of 1 or like 2 candidates, and if you have more, then we can just
you
talk
can just
about
do
that.
1, because I think that like just seeing like what is that candidate doing, and then we can like layer it, right?
So
Like,
just realize this training class and this training class are the 2 biggest ones for the whole January. And if you train your people appropriately, right, the interviews that they run, they'll have a good show and they'll have a good launch. And then all year there, right, the difference when I was actually there watching them do it, right, I had the stop ice come in. I had the advanced training, right, and when we did only 55 grand in new business in January with Wasim, we did, if you set it up appropriately, we did over $70,000 in new business in February. Here's the other thing too. I also had one of my worst falls, right? And we went from like 0 to hero just like that. And it was the building process. And we didn't even launch our first, we missed shipment the way it fell. We missed shipment. So they didn't even, and this is where you had to do paper contracts. So no one got paid and we didn't launch anybody. And technically we only launched, all we launched was like 10 and then 10. And we still did $55,000 because it's a building process, right? And I had really shitty people. Like there weren't good people in the training class.
so you don't run any cycles in December before this?
No, except for the right
I
after
thought last year
Thanksgiving.
you had people running.
Last
cycles.
year, I ran a cycle because I was trying to hit $1 million, but it didn't really work out. We
So
missed it.
when's your last cycle for December? Is it the second?
First week of December.
First week of December.
I mean, you could technically do a
You could run
2-week.
2 in December.
You
and
could
then
run
do a
2, but
2-week cycle.
we're talking about candidates, right?
Yeah.
So we have here. So then we have the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, right? So you have training. So you have your Blitz day here. So the 4th, you would have 2 interviews, and then they run their day 1, day 2. They run that. They run the 3rd one. The 3rd one's theirs. Now, if I had 2 people, what I would do is I would run 4, so 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 day 1s, and 2 day 2s. And you're like, how the hell do you do that? It's really easy. Run 4 interviews. So there'd be a 10, 15,
for each stage. Whatever.
10, 15, a 10, 11, 12, 1, 1, 15, a 4, 15, and a 7, 15. And what I do is I just stagger it so it's all fair. So meaning one person gets that, and then one person gets that, and then here, this person will now run the early ones, and they'll run the later ones. And then they're like, well, what about the third day? It's not fair. So I'll then have one person run the 2 middle ones, and then one person runs the early and later one.
Yeah, and I don't
that's
think
how I
that
do
I think you can alternate it or whatever. For
And then-
me, just because we're short on time, we literally, for some people leaving, what I want to know, if you can walk me through, and I'm sure it'll help everybody, is you tell the candidate, here's what you're doing. Day 1, you're going to be blitzing and setting PRs. Day 2 and 3, you're running interviews and setting people for interviews. Day 4, so how many days, what are they doing, activities on each day of their cycle? That's what I would like to know.
What are they doing? So they
Yeah,
run,
so you're
I
like-
let them know, right?
So
They
the
watch
first day of their
me,
cycle.
right? They watch me here and they help me with the blitz. Then they'll sell, right? And if they're my top people, they'll help me run this, right? And then they just run this blitz.
So their cycle starts with a blitz. That's what I know. So day 1 of their
It
cycle.
actually starts on technically the 2nd or 31st. So I go, step number 1 is you have to recruit people to blitz with you. So you're completely responsible for blitzing, right? You plus other people. So you can get RAs, right? You'll have access to RAs. But here's the thing. And then this is really where you talk about working the numbers backwards. Everyone goes, well, I'd like to launch 10, right? And I show them realistically how to launch 10 PRs, right? Or 8 PRs. I'll work it back that way. And then they know how many people they have to have there, and they have to execute that, and they'll do that on the blitz day. Also, with advanced training, I also let them know they can attend advanced training to help them get a couple extra people, right? They'll actually help with steroids, so they can get people on the 6th for that next training class.
So
Does it make sense? So they would help out with AT1.
they're running the blitz, then they're recruiting for 3 days?
Then they run interviews. They run 2 interviews. They run 6 interviews.
Right,
total.
right. But I'm saying there's 3 days of recruiting happening.
Mhm.
So 1 day of just blitzing, 3 days of interviews and setting people, right? Because they're still setting more people.
Yep.
And setting, like playing receptionist, right?
Mhm. That's all they focus on.
Yeah, so 1 day focused just on blitz, 3 days focused on a mix of interviews and setting PRs.
Mhm.
Then they're running training, so training seminar. Then do you have them, after their training seminar, do you have them run their advanced training and
And they
everything?
start selling,
Okay, so training and then they
and
sell
then they run at their advanced training, so AT1. So they'll
Sell.
run that one.
and then run AT1.
Now, if they start selling with the training class, then I just tell them they have to do phone time on day 1 and day 2, and that evening, whatever that day that is, and morning. So it's a huge book schedule. So that way they run everything. So the idea is an SC2 type schedule for a branch, or a new DM, in my opinion. I mean, Carl Gedris, sold like 10 grand his first year as a DM for SC2 alone.
I think it'd be really cool to get, I'm writing this down, but just so I have clarity too, we can put it together, just one person cycle schedule. So we have a first day blitz. Oh, no, I'm saying like
It's
on a
the same thing.
paper.
Yeah,
Right.
I can send it out. I have it, by the way, if you guys want.
Okay,
But-
perfect.
But
Because then we can adjust it with our guys. And our
Yeah.
schedules
And,
and stuff.
but if it's 2 people, I would have them do it right in the very, very beginning, so then they can just crush it for the last 5 days, right? And then, if they want to do a little bit more, they can put a couple demos in there. But what I've noticed, if you try to do that, then you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none. So,
Yeah.
But they start doing phone time day 1, day 2, and then they start selling with their training class. And actually, their AT would be here.
Do you have them, did you guys have them run like AT2, AT, or just?
Normally, just AT1. That's the biggest. Because you think about for most branches, anyways, that's the development part of things, and AT2 is simple, easy to run.
Tips, yeah.
It's phone tips. The biggest issue is getting people in training. I mean, if you look at the branches, the biggest issue is they just didn't run a blitz, and they didn't know how to get names, and So this helps them watch how to get names. Then they call the names, right? Because they're selling here. And then
So when they run
they
the
run.
training, the names that are from that training are gonna go to the next people running the.
So my next
seminar.
person, right? If you just wanted it, if you didn't have, if you had two, your next person's blitz day would be here. So they're setting up the success, and then, right? They could technically they'll do 2 interviews the 9th, 2 interviews the 10th, 2 interviews the 11th, and on the 12th they would run training, 12th and 13th. Yeah, and then they
So
go to
it's 4 days in
Austin.
the training, so it's 6 days basically that we're setting them up for, of like, you know, them working in the office and then AT,
What am I
right?
doing on time? Is that okay?
Blitz, Blitz,
Yeah.
3 days of recruiting, 2 days of training, and then they come back for advanced training. Am I correct gathering that?
Mhm.
So when
That's
we're
it.
mapping it in their schedule? Okay.
And I can send this out. And all you do is if you have more candidates, you might need an extra room, but most of the time you don't. Because you just stagger the training, or you put just don't run interviews. Like if I was to have here, and I had 4 candidates, then I'd have my 2 other candidates run there, and instead of running interviews this day, they just run 2 trainings, 1 in the morning, 1 there. Like because you have 2 interviews, because you run training here and then you run training over there.
You're doing their AT after a day and a half? Yeah, I guess that's right?
Day and a half, yeah. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, I would compact it anyways, just because of timing, because of the exam
Okay.
program.
So they'll have, so if they run training, they have 1 full day to sell, and then they can sell after advanced training.
Yeah, they actually have all of or part of day 2, day 1 day, and then like
Run
they have.
AT, then
So they
sell.
would show up with their training class probably with $1,500 ideally.
Sorry, I know I'm
Exactly.
asking a lot of questions. I
No,
don't really wanna
that's
do that.
really it.
You guys, so if I'm planning with somebody, because I want to do this, I haven't done this. So if I'm planning with someone, I'm like, all right, so we have 1 day
Crazy
to
to leave.
recruit. Yeah, 1 day to recruit people, like to just do a blitz day. 3 days you're going to be just interviewing and setting people up for interviews. 2 days you're going to run training, and you could do some sales that night. Then you'll have 1 full sale day. Then you'll have a day where you run AT and you go sell. Right?
And you do phone time with your training class.
Cool. Yeah, and you're phoning and working with them.
And as a DM, I'm there with them most of the time. So like I'm there just walking the calls. So that's it. Is that confusing? Or is it pretty simple?
No, that's pretty straightforward.
I have a question.
So,
Dates.
You just and by the way, you just set up their schedule like if you were running the 3rd training and it was summertime. Except for they just go, here's what you're
We can
gonna
get this on paper of like just, for most people, it's just 1 or 2 candidates, you know, and then we'll adjust it, those of us who have more candidates, like based on what we need to do, and it'd be really good. Just so we can
Is it okay for them to run a cycle after YB since YB?
So yeah, so if they're local,
Yeah.
right, then you could actually have them run a cycle after YB for sure. So like some of people that go really big, like a seam, like when we used to go really big, he would run all the cycles. So he'd run 1, 2, 3, and 4 before year end banquet. He'd run all of them, and he would do essentially everything with his right hand person, his dom, and that's how he would go really like yeah, it's just fucking crazy. Him and Charles Uridia. So that's what Charles said. So they would run all of it, and then their candidates would run the stuff afterwards. So, but I always like to have them in the mix of it, you know, as long as they care. If they don't care, then it screws everything up.
Cool.
And by the way, this is for people that are actually considering on a branch, like they're like literally going to run an office. So if they're like in between maybe, right, and they're like traveling and stuff, and it's going to be a hard sell to get them in, this will mess up your January program if they're not in. So.
Yeah, we just need to check when do their classes go back, like strategize so that they get.
We
their
start
stuff.
back on the 17th.
You guys do.
You know when you do
I'd say same 17, probably, yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that also, personally, I think like if we're planning our schedules all the way through like the 10th or the 11th and what we're supposed to be doing on the 12th or whatever, we have year-end banquet. I think personally probably it'd be good to plan like what you want happening on your first day back to school too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll beat my school recruiting drum again, but like
Yeah.
figure out like
Yeah, because if
like,
you don't, you got to start promoting that. Yeah, because if it's right after their training somewhere, you go to if you don't have a good transition, and that's why like a couple of years we've just missed the transition, and that's why our February really sucks. Not really sucks, but it's not anything exciting because you don't have that momentum built. So you literally, you can hit these 2 training classes and rock for the month of January and be really well, but if you don't hit the schools right after you're in banquet, have a good plan for that, then the momentum won't carry because your whole team is either local or non-local, doesn't matter. Even if they're non-local, they'll all leave, so.
That document that Eric led with earlier, where it was like College Station 2011, 47 recruits. The Jan Pro portion of it was 8 recruits, and we did all the rest of it in the last 2 weeks of January going back to school.
Yeah.
And I was there.
So
Love it. Well,
that's all I got.
just,
I hope that helps.
yeah.
Thank
Help me. By the way, we're getting out of here. There's no wrap up talk, but here's what I just want to make sure for us right now, like this fall to me is all about momentum into the new year. Like everything right now, it's like, are we getting our basics? Are we getting our systems in place? Do we have stuff in place so that next year, like we're, smooth sail, like we have the plan, we know we need to follow, like it's more like clockwork. I feel like this year it's been like, there's been just too many variables, question marks, changes, but just having stuff in place where we know exactly what needs to happen. So making sure you're kind of finalizing for your office, for what you need, asking questions, reaching out, getting calls, with me over the next couple weeks, our next staffers in a month, but right now we're just getting ready these next 2 weeks of Olean, then the next week will be in Olean. And then after Olean, I'm gone that week. I have a payoff with Loretta for work and her birthday trip. So I'm taking her to New York for 2 days. And then I actually am going on a little religious sabbatical for 5 days. I'll be off the grid. And then I'll come back for the staff meeting. So I'll get back on Monday and we'll have the staff meeting on Tuesday. But so you guys know kind of what's happening, what's going down. But I really want you guys to think big about next year and not allowing what's happened this year or years past for those who are veterans really dictate what next year can be. Because I really have seen it. And you can go from 0 to 100 in this business, which is unreal. I've seen Anna Afghanistan, who was at $28,000 for the fall and was told to quit and shut down. And then someone said, just run the January program, man, and went out and had like a $600,000 or $700K year followed by $1 million year and was one of the best managers in Florida history, and I just saw him this past week in Colorado. Like I've seen so many where it just changed. And even for me, where I was like dying in Sarasota as a new DM, and I got a couple people in front of me, and I launched 3 people. That was it for my January program. But those 3 people sold $10,000, and they built my year. And that next year, we went out and did $400,000, like $398 or whatever. We built it, and then the next year we popped it up. Or excuse me, I'm lying. That year we ended up doing 500 plus. I was transitioned from 04 to 05. We did 500 plus that year, and the next year we did $1 million. And it was really through focusing on, okay, what do I want to happen for next year? What do I want it to look like? We'll talk more about that as we go through the month of November. But again, right now, let's get our basics down personally as managers. Let's get our systems in place, and let's make sure our top people have the same thing. So are you texting your PRs right after every interview? Are you, all the things we talked about, are you on top of that stuff? Are you maximizing your names so you can really build it? Because if you can't do it, you're not going to teach your people how to do it. So really knowing how to create from scratch is a really big tool to learn. So those are thoughts I had. Any other veterans, anyone else want to say anything?
I have one quick thing. I've sat in November in this meeting with no one on my team more times than I've sat in this meeting with someone on my team in November, right? And so the important thing that to realize right now, and there's people talking like, this is how you train your candidates, this is how you get your candidates ready, this is how you whatever. It's important to realize that if you're like have next to no one, that what you're doing right now in JanPro, those kids are going to be your staff for this summer. And that's why it's important right now to get them, because if not, you don't get them now. You're going to have many more chances in the spring, maybe 1 or 2 more chances, but you're not going to have many more chances. The next thing you know, you're sitting in March and April again, going into another summer with like you, and maybe you have 1 a.m. If you do it right now, then you'll have 5, 6, 7 ready to go for you into the summer if you're by yourself right now.
Amazing. And we didn't have shit on our team last fall. Like our fall, kind of fell apart. But we really focused on Jan program last year and making sure, okay, who did we have in the summer that we could try to reach out to? What old things can we call? Like who can we reach out to really build into the new year? And that was definitely a very important thing. So cool, awesome. Thank you guys. By the way, plans to change, whoever wants. If you want to go next door, I'm going to go to the gyro place. They have vegetarian, amazing hummus, and gyros. It's like $5, and it's amazing. So if you like Middle Eastern food, that's where I'm going right now. So whoever wants to go, we're going to go next door. I know some of you guys are leaving for a little bit, just so I know.
I'll let you take extra turns on the list.
Kathy, I need a candidate call with some of my ideas. Just a call at some point. But I
Yes. Yes, and win your softball tournament, and we'll chat later.
We're not that good.
Have you guys won a game?
We won. All right, so our record on moral victories, we're 6-1 on moral victories. Our scoreboard victories is 1-7.
Alright.
What are you talking about? You're talking about
You guys can help me put these
Chairs
tables.
long.
Yo, if you guys can help me put these black tables back there, 'cause the rope goes under it.
Yeah, I'm sure you brushed it. It looks good.
Look at
But,
this.
I just saw your hat here and I'm like,
No, like Kyle's.
your hair is long too, sir.
I love this hat. I can wear in my house. It's a coaster.
Ah. Goodbye, sir. Keep being you.
Crashing. How am I crashing?
DR. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, see you
Even
later.
though I never see you.
So I guess whenever she asks us all that, I'll
Makes me sad.
New DMs.
But I see you now.
I see it. Meaning us.
You guys should caught Dawson on his way out.
Well, I
You
see
knew
everybody.
what was gonna happen.
I should have.
You jetted. It was like,
Yeah, I should
What
have.
What are we supposed to do?
I'm not here.
Tomorrow I have a team meeting, so.
what do you want them? What do you want them?
It's not yeah,
Table back there for the road.
yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty much it, just
And
the
then what about
black.
the folding table? You wanna fold
But
it
if
up?
you guys don't want to put them back, it's fine, I'm DCLA tonight and they'll help me do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll make the candidates do it.
This
Make them do all that
Reach out, just do
shit.
extra. He's bitching.
Was he? Yo, he is always bitching.
No, not about work.
Oh, but he's always bitching. Miss Jones is a cunt, Mary Lou. What do I do?
Right.
Not what do I do, just she's Mary Lou, I made 50 calls, I booked no one. I'm gonna go get wings. That's what he says. Sup, man? I brought the stuff to my hair and I didn't do it. I need to do that. What?
Chilling in the cut like a Band-Aid.
What?
Chilling in the cut like a Band-Aid.
Sure. So funny.
Oh man.
Hey, don't forget to set your time.
Maybe you talk